Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is, well, Red Beard, and it is a damn fine day to talk about a book. We are here for a book review, and today we're going to talk about A Sliver of Darkness by C.J. Tudor. It is my fifth Tudor read, my fourth in the last 4 to 5 months or whatever. I read Chalkman way back in the day when it first came out, and then it took me a while to get back. But this year I've read The Hiding Place, The Burning Girls, The Drift, and now A Sliver of Darkness. And I think there's only one book left for me to read, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of that one, but I have it, and I'll be getting into that one probably pretty soon. I'm a fan. I think Tudor. First of all, I've often called her the Queen of Twist. I mean, she just really slaps you in the mouth with twist. Sometimes they play perfect for me. Sometimes they don't play that way, and it is what it is. But this again, it's all short. Another thing I'll say about Tudor is I feel like she's kind of got everybody fooled. Like we know what the literary community thinks about horror. We know that you go in Barnes and Noble. There's a very small horror shelf. We know that probably popular authors, if they can get their books billed as thrillers or mystery or whatever, rather than horror, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I'm speaking off the top of my head here, but it feels like she's got everybody fooled because I don't often see her books on the horror shelf, but they are horror. I mean, The Burning Girls was horror. The Chalk Man was horror. The Drift was definitely post-apocalyptic. Um, thriller, but horror, and these stories are firmly horror. So, again, I really liked it. I'm probably 3.5 stars on the book as a whole. It's probably right in the middle of me, a middle of her work for me, liking. I think the Burning Girls and the Chalk Man a little bit more than this one, and then the Drift and the Hiding Place a little bit below this one. But yeah, I mean, I dug it. I think there's 7 to 9 stories. It's not a very long book. It's 236 pages roughly. I'm going to give you a brief little synopsis if I can remember all of them, of these stories, and then I'll pick my top four. But there are shorts on shorts already up for all these stories, and there is a short review under my shorts tab, or however that looks to you. I don't know. I come here and record full length reviews, but I also do short reviews. So check those out. And thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what your favorite CJ Tudor book is. So the first story in the book, and another cool thing about this book is that each story has like a little preface to it, a little information about the story, like where it came from, what got her on the path to writing this story. Sometimes it's just hearing a line. Sometimes it's just seeing something that kind of sparked her, and she went and wrote these stories. So I enjoyed that. That information was pretty cool. Nothing overbearing, not too long, usually a page and a half tops. But anyway, the first story in the book is End of Liner. It is a cruise ship at the end of the world. Something has happened to the land masses. Something has happened. It's post apocalyptic, and we're on this cruise ship, and we've been there for a long time. We've been there for like 50 years, and we've raised a child on the cruise ship, and our child was a bit rambunctious and what's the word I'm looking for? Curious, and asked a lot of questions, which, again, it didn't feel like we were in a scenario where they felt like they frowned on asking questions. Well, why are we here? Why does it work this way? But these people have been on this cruise ship for so long that some of them are kind of sick of this. I guess veiled life of luxury. Because let's be honest, they're not getting the food selection that they once did. I mean, things are running out. It's hard to keep this post-apocalyptic cruise ship going. Anyway, but people are volunteering to work because they're just so sick of just the day to day not having anything to do. So anyway, but it's cool, and it's a cool bit about a relationship between a mother and a daughter. And again, like I said, that rambunctious, ask all the questions little girl in a situation like this. So I enjoyed that one quite a bit. The Block, a group of teens are trying to break into this decrepit, rundown, abandoned apartment block, and our main character is the smallest one of the group, and so has to crawl in a little gap in the bottom floor. All the windows are boarded up. He has to go up like 2 floors, lower rope for his friends, but it's nasty and grimy in there. There's some insect horror going on, but he gets up to the floor and there's graffiti everywhere, but there's just one section of graffiti, and it's the same word over and over and over again, and that word is hungry, hungry, hungry. So I like that story too. Runaway Blues has got a blues music backdrop to it. We meet a character that, and she said that she had Morgan Freeman's voice, Shawshank Redemption, in her mind when she wrote this, but he can play the hell out of saxophone. He can sing like no other. And he's got this hat, and our main characters are really just patrons. They just go in there to hear the jazz and the blues music. And he talks about how his girlfriend gave him this hat and how beautiful she is and this and that. And she works down, in another part of town, but at this dance club, she's a dancer and so on and so forth. And but it turns really, really dark. She leaves him, but then she comes back, and it's called Runaway Blues, and it's a horrific look at what a man would do to keep his woman from running away. Runaway Blues. The completion, again, this is another end of the world post-apocalyptic, but we are a real estate agent. I think in Britain or in England, or it was called an estate agent, but a real estate agent, and we're trying to get the sale, get this man. He owns the biggest house in town, old beautiful mansion, and it feels like he's finally gonna let us broker the deal, let us sell his place, and we go out there to see what the deal is, but there's a lot more to it, and there's bits about human sacrifice and ancient religions, and but there's a twist. And again, my favorite thing about this story, and I think I forgot it because I've already picked my top ones, but my favorite thing about this story was how she built up what a shitty character this guy was, what a horrible dude he was. Just like every page would be a line, you'd be like, oh shit, this guy is a piece of shit, and then it escalate, and it was funny but cool at the same time. All right. The line at the gate, some teenagers come across this gate that's got this lion, and the lion appears to change every day and more realistic, and I'll leave that one out. It wasn't my favorite one in the book. Gloria. Let me see if I can remember. Okay, Gloria, she's been in an accident, a bad accident, but she's a killer. And we don't know if she was before the accident, if the accident made her this way, but she's very disfigured. But we witness a scene where she is doing a cleanup job, kind of like the wolf in Pulp Fiction. She goes in to clean up someone else's brutal, nasty kill scene. But she's a killer in her own right, and she goes to this diner on the way between places and sees this mom and her little girl, and then she sees someone follow them out of the restaurant and follow them to their hotel, and she thinks that she sees another killer in action. Another killer is going after this mom and young girl, and she doesn't want it to happen. So she's at a turning point as to almost like a Dexter thing. Is she going to continue to kill, but is she going to only go after bad dudes? It was a pretty entertaining story. I'm not Ted. This one just started with a sentence. I'm not Ted. And this guy, he's kind of like in a not foyer. What am I thinking of? Like a reception area of this big building, this big office building, and they're like, glad to see you, Ted, welcome back, blah blah blah, this is the day of your elevation, you're being elevated to a new position. This, he said, but I'm not Ted. And well, let's get the valets to go park your Ferrari out there. But I'm not Ted. But his name tag says Ted. The Ferrari says Ted on the license plate. And he's like, well, maybe I am Ted, And they take him up and show him his new penthouse that he's getting. 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, heated pool, sauna, everything, all the, everything you can imagine. And then he sees his wife, Ted's wife, and he starts to come around to the idea that maybe he wants to be Ted. But anyway, so ultimately, I guess it's a story about, I mean, would you do it? Would you become this person if given the option? Would you stop being yourself and be this Ted? I don't know. That doesn't seem right. That sounds a little stupid, and I'm not a genius. But anyway, it was a cool. This one was almost like a science fiction type thing. But final course, a group of high school friends. She called it back in university, and I'm pretty sure that university over there is high school. I could be wrong, but it's again, it's the end of the world, and the world has gone dark, and there are monsters out there in the darkness. And they decide to convene at an old friend of theirs' house that has this big mansion, and kind of ride things out there. Kind of there's plenty of room in the mansion. Let's all get together, and it's a look at how when you get back together with all your friends from back then, how it's not how you remember it, and things never can be that way again, right? But also, our main character has a daughter, and she's blind, and it feels like the darkness, the evil, or whatever it is, has also found a home in blind people. Like it's imbued some sort of powers on her as well. And anyway, it's a cool story. That's final course. The copy shop. A woman finds a mysterious shop that allows her to make copies of things. It starts with a broken vase that she would love to have fixed. The only thing is that you cannot have the original back. You do not get the original back, but we'll make you a perfect copy of what it did look like, a better version, in fact. And it goes into her ailing cat. Her cat's near death, and well, let's see if they can handle this job, and they can. And then even to her not so much abusive, but I guess unattentive husband. And then she's like, well, I'm not in love with the way I look nowadays either. Maybe I would like a cleaner, better copy of myself. It's called The Copy Shop. I really like that story. Dust is a woman wakes in feels like a resort, a hotel in a desert type landscape. It says it's off the Sahara at one point. And she is ultimately, it ends up being a purgatory like situation where she has to revisit her crimes, her sins, and she realizes she was not a very nice person in the real world, and this place is haunted by the ghosts of those that she killed. And then Butterfly Island. This story's wild, and it had the most ambiguous ending of any of them for me. Really left it on a cliffhanger. I kind of wanted more, but there's a lot in there. And then also post-apocalyptic, also a group of people that are trying to get to this island to kind of, I guess, hold up, to get away from whatever dangers lay behind them. But we get to the island. It's surrounded by underwater mines. There's a immediate explosion of one of the boats, and I'm talking about blood and limbs raining down on you type of explosion. Cool shit for a horror reader. There are flesh-eating butterflies in this one. There is a killer loose on the island. There's a crucifixion scene. Yeah, I told you there was a lot. There's a lot in that story, but again, very, very ambiguous ending. Okay, so for me, that's it. By the way, for me, my top four in descending or whatever order. I think again, I've already picked these, so I want to stay. I want to say, I should remember this already, but I want to say that in order, it was Final Course 4, The Copy Shop 3, End of Liner 2. Actually, no, it was End of Liner 3, The Copy Shop 2, Runaway Blues 1. But all that said, I forgot about what a cool story the completion was when I was doing my short version of this. The completion is a pretty awesome story too, and I really, again, like the way we build seems like the wrong word. I guess the way we deconstructed this main character, in a way that of telling what a shitty dude he was. So yeah, Sliver of Darkness. Again, it's my fifth read by Tudor. I've got one more, I think, that she's already come out with that I'm going to get to soon. It's a novel, but this one was 3.5 stars. My third, right in the middle for me, but great short fiction. And got me going again on shorts on shorts, so I've got some more coming there. But this is Well Red Beard. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.